It's transfer portal season, folks, and after some of the more notable and shocking portal news breaking yesterday, some news today regarding Iowa men's basketball. This one not so shocking, not so surprising, as Iowa point guard Dasonte Bowen, who's been out with an injury, has entered his name into the transfer portal. I'll give you some initial thoughts. Of course, the men defeating Kansas State in the first round of the NIT, their postseason lives are still alive. We'll talk about it in just a second. But first, I want to remind everybody, if you missed our show last night, we've got a special treat. Enter our Iowa Smokehouse Bracket Challenge. Our friends down at Iowa Smokehouse, proud supporters of From the Hawkeye of the Storm and Iowa men's basketball, Iowa women's basketball, they are giving away prize packages, 6 different prizes for these 2 bracket groups combined. Links to the ESPN bracket groups in the description of this video, right at the top. Men's bracket group, check it out, enter, fill out your bracket. Women's bracket group, do the same thing. You've got to get your picks in before the first games officially start. So men, of course, they play tomorrow. The NCAA men's tournament officially starting tomorrow after the first 4 games complete this evening. And then, of course, the women's tournament will start on Friday. So get your selections in. It's totally free to compete, and you will get awesome prizes, including a couple of $100 gift cards, one for the men's winner, one for the women's winner, and some second and third place prizes as well. Thank you to Iowa Smokehouse. Check out those bracket challenge groups in our description. So the news, Iowa guard Dasonte Bowen has entered the transfer portal. And this does not come as a surprise to me, especially in this day and age. I do not have any connections to Dasonte or his camp, so to speak. So when I made this statement a couple of months ago that I expected Dasonte to leave Iowa and transfer after the season, it was simply as a result of minutes, history, era. I mean, we are part of a college football and college basketball transfer portal era, as we saw yesterday with the news regarding Caden Proctor, that is constantly put in hyperspeed. In other words, you're going to have guys, if they're not playing, they're likely going to be looking for greener pastures. And so Dasonte had been a starter at the beginning of the season. As time went on, he failed to see playing time, eventually wasn't seeing time at all. Fran McCaffery told the media that Dasonte was dealing with a season-ending injury. And so kind of put that story on the back burner. But I had confidence, like a lot of people had suspicion, that he would probably leave when given the opportunity. And I don't necessarily blame him. It's his second year in the program. Let's keep in mind he was a semi-highly touted kid. At one time, he was considered a 4-star by some recruiting sites. I think last check 247 had him as a 3-star coming out of high school. But this is a good land for Fran McCaffery. Fran had been dogged on for not being able to land some athletic point guards from the East Coast. Of course, Fran is from the East Coast, and that's been a frustration on the part of Hawkeye fans for some time. And here's an experiment that did not work out. As it relates to the recruiting cycle, Fran beat out the likes of Maryland, USC, Virginia Tech, Miami. I believe Rutgers had an offer on Dasonte Bowen, as did Rhode Island, Penn State, Georgetown, Northwestern. He was a good student, obviously, because he had some really good Ivy League schools in on him as well. But just unfortunate the way his career panned out at Iowa as it relates to playing time, and not sure where the divide is or was. What I can say is we saw a guy in Aaron Eulis who also maybe had a little bit more athleticism than Iowa fans are typically used to at the point guard position. He, of course, failed to see enough playing time to stay at Iowa. He leaves, and, of course, he's had some off-court stuff regarding the gambling situation that's prevented him from playing D1 ball elsewhere. But the point is, I think Frank Henderson last night in our postgame show talked about this. It seems like those more athletic, if you want to call them slashing type of point guards, creators that are maybe more defensive-minded, although I didn't think Dasonte was great on the defensive end. But the point is, these guys who aren't strong from the perimeter struggle to fit it in Iowa, and the one exception really being Tony Perkins. Tony has not had a great three-point shot since he got to campus. He's been okay from behind the arc, but in large part, he makes his living mid-range, attacking inside, and defending. I know he struggled here of late, his senior year, but it does seem like some of those more athletic type of point guards that aren't strong three-point shooters, like Joe Toussaint, like Dasonte Bowen, like Aaron Eulis, struggle to fit in to the Fran McCaffery system. So hopefully that's not a continuing trend. It seems to be at this point So we'll see where Dasonte ends up. He certainly doesn't have a ton of college tape to give to potential suitors, and there's a lot of competition out there, a lot of people entering the portal. It's a busy, busy week. That's why we have some teams opting out of postseason play, unfortunately. So that's the latest with Iowa men's basketball. Dasonte Bowen entering the transfer portal. What will Iowa do at that position? Keep in mind they have Brock Harding returning next year. We'll see about Tony Perkins. Hopefully, this is an indication that Dasonte feels like Tony may come back. I don't know that it would have made a difference. I think Dasonte was going to leave no matter what. But Tony has an opportunity to come back for one more year. They'll get Brock back again, and we'll see what Iowa does in the transfer portal. They do not have a guard coming in during the 2024 class. They've got Cooper Koch, the legacy recruit, son of former Hawkeye J.R. Koch, and then they've got the kid from NBA Academy, Chris Taggio, coming in as a forward. So we'll see what Iowa does in the portal. Right now, they're focused in on the NIT, but an extra scholarship is now open. I want to remind everybody to support our sponsors. I mentioned our Iowa Smokehouse bracket challenges earlier. Be sure to check out our friends over at Under the Kitchen. Randy and his team doing great artwork for the loyal Hawkeye athletes out there that want to be a part of NIL the way it should be. Check out the selection over on Facebook. Search Under the Kitchen on Facebook for this authentic Hawkeye art, or you can visit his website, underthekitchen.square.site. Also, check out Iowa Floor Covering. If you have a project in the works, give them a call, 515-379-7000. Maybe you're a contractor or a DIYer. Visit iowafloorcovering.com or visit them in person down in Bondurant. Again, that's Iowa Floor Covering in Bondurant. Thank you for being here, folks. We'll talk to you soon. I'm Corey Brattle from the Hawkeye of the Storm.